Well, I'm going to move on to my next point about players transferring and stuff like that. Fahim, it doesn't have to just be Liverpool, but has there been a sign in this window you've looked at and think, wow, like that's a big signing for them? They've massively improved this window.
Oh, I think there's been a few. I think obviously um, Chelsea and Leeds probably have done some really good business. Chelsea obviously had the luxury of having money from left over from uh, transfer window bans from previous, so they had a bit of money to spend. So went out and got a lot of good players. Um, but I think it's a strange window, really. I think teams have strengthened, and they've all got stronger. But if you look at it, like, have teams really addressed the positions that they needed to, or have they gone out and signed second, third choice transfers because they can't get their first choice? If you look at United, all summer people were talking about Sancho, to the point where Dortmund had their eye on another player to replace him. So that's how far that had got. Um, and then they end up with Cavani. Um, so I think there's a few signings that are going to excite people. Obviously, Timo Werner coming at Chelsea. There's um, plenty of other good players coming in, moving around within the Premier League. I think the young lad that Villa got, that
Ollie Watkins.
that's it. What who done Liverpool last week? So he looks a good, exciting young player. Looks like he's hungry. Looks like he's got no inhibitions. Can go out there and just express himself. Um, so yeah, I think the signings have been exciting. Plenty of money been spent, but I'm curious as to see how the season will pan out because I just feel like a lot of the teams have spent money but haven't really strengthened the positions they needed to look at, really, which is quite strange.
Saying that, we're going to touch on Liverpool as you're a Liverpool fan.
Mm.
How exciting is the Thiago signing?
Yeah, look, we spoke about it before. I mean, it's I think when you bring in someone who's um, been competitive at the highest level and won trophies and comes in and adds to your side that's just won the Premier League and one of the other big trophies as well. And you add in quality to the side. I think Liverpool have gone about their business in the right way. They've looked at where they need to strengthen. There was obviously um, up front they needed better options than what they had, and obviously at left back they needed cover as well. So they addressed those positions and they brought in the players for those positions. And I think again, I don't want to say just because I'm a Liverpool fan, but if you look at those signings, they make sense to that squad. You think, okay, you bought in a winning midfielder, a midfielder that cost us around about the same fee as we sold Brewster for, with a buyback clause. So it's just, to me, that's just great business to get a player of that experience. So yeah, those signings tend to make sense. So I think Thiago is going to hopefully fit in very well. We've already seen like little snippets of him just come in and control the game, dictate the pace, move the ball, nice and quick for Liverpool. So hopefully that will continue when he comes back against Everton.
Well, Rick, we won't ask you who your most exciting signing is at Tottenham because it's quite obvious, Gareth Battle. But how do you feel your window's gone? I mean, you have made a few good signings.
I think we strengthened exactly how we should have done. We needed a defensive midfielder, got Højbjerg, and I've got to admit, massive fan of him already. Just simple, ball-winning midfielder, gets it, passes, move, gone. A good right back, possibly one. Well, I'm not going to say one of the best in the Premier League, but I think a solid right back, which we really needed. Aurier is just. I don't really want to go into too much about Aurier, but we've got Ruglion as well. Most of my Tottenham group chat call him Reggie. He started off really well. He looked a bit shaky against Chelsea, but come alive in the second half. I mean, rapid. I mean, he stopped. I think it's Hudson-Odoi going through on goal and out of nowhere. He was good against United as well. I mean, shock result. I was expecting at least a 2-2 draw, not a 6-1 win at Old Trafford. Never thought I'll see that in my lifetime. But yeah, Gareth Bale, it's world class. There's no doubt about it. On his day, well beater. Just there's nothing really more to say. I've grown up watching him, seen him fly down the wing at White Hart Lane. The only one it just sort of threw me off guard as the striker. I thought we would be getting someone like I would have liked someone like Callum Wilson, Premiership proven, but it's very hard to come in to be Kane's backup. But yeah, I mean, obviously the one thing that everyone always forgets about really when they talk about Spurs, Joe Hart. I mean, he's all right, I suppose. Probably the
signing, isn't he? Really, a lot of people do forget about that.
The shock one. I didn't think we would end up going for. I mean, it's fine. I think if we would have got a centre back, it would have been a bonus. Obviously, there was talks of the Inter Milan defence Shrinkrana. And that Man City centre back as well, Diaz, which apparently Jose wanted. But I mean, that would have been a bonus. I mean, I'm very happy with the window. I mean, I think that I talked about some work and someone was really surprised. I think Everton done really well with their signings. The signings they've got, they've strengthened in the midfield where they needed to. They've added a lot of creativity in Rodriguez. Probably it could have been very hit or miss. He hasn't been playing a lot in the last couple of years, like Gareth Bale, but I mean, he's hit the ground running. He looked impressive against Tottenham. He's got a few assists and a few goals as well since joining. I think Ancelotti's done well, and I mean, Calvert-Lewin's been on fire. So I think that's what Everton's always missed. Since losing Lukaku, they've lost that hunger up front. I don't think they have ever had that replacement for him, in my opinion. But yeah, I think in terms of the disappointing one, and I have to say, Man United, I think that was linked with pretty much everyone. Gareth Bale was even one of the names that mentioned, apart from Sancho. I could see Faheem smiling sort of at the moment while I'm talking about it. But yeah, Man United, it's a weird one. They bought a youngster from Atlanta in Italy as well. Cavani, is that going to be another Falcao signing where he doesn't do much? I mean, he's a very good striker, but 33, is that a panic buy? Who knows? But the one thing they never strengthened was their defence. I think you looked at the game against Tottenham, they just looked all over the place. They've got a fridge at the back and he don't really do much. He doesn't work in a back two. He has to have a back three around him to be a bit more effective for me. But in all fairness, I thought Liverpool might have done a bit more as well. I mean, Thiago is unbelievable. For the amount of money you spent, unbelievable. I think, 29 million or so? But yeah, I mean, you strengthened in the areas, but I thought you would have bought probably one more in there, maybe a different sort of type of striker. I mean, Jota surprised me, but I do rate Diego Jota quite highly as well. Yeah, I think in terms of some of the signings, done well. I think probably the worst, probably West Ham. They didn't really get anyone, really. Got rid of Anderson. Haven't really done much, in my opinion. I mean, not complaining. Don't like West Ham myself, but yeah, they've not done particularly well. I think some of the lower clubs, like West Ham, Burnley, didn't really sign that many players. It must be an effect of the coronavirus, which has affected most clubs now.
Yeah, I just want to touch on the abbreviation used of he's just like a fridge. For him, I think that's where you've gone wrong while playing me. If we'd have played against someone with a fridge, I finally would have played off on the shoulder.
Use some of that pace, yeah.
I would have been banging them in then. But no, but Rick, I just want to. How refreshing is it to see now that Tottenham are actually being not just linked with these players, but also bringing them in? Do you feel quite sorry for Pochettino, just to the fact that you can understand why he wasn't backed at the time? Not saying he didn't do a good job, but was it kind of like just the wrong timing to have him? But obviously, you can't take away what he done.
But let's be fair. When you look at Mourinho, when he's come into clubs, he buys players to win stuff. Now, I'm not going to turn around and say, "Oh yeah, we're going to win the league." I mean, we've got enough now in our squad to fight on 4 fronts. If we want to go for the league, I mean, I don't think we're good enough. But obviously, it's a long season. I think strange things have happened. Look at Leicester a couple of years ago. I mean, not comparing us to Leicester because they've been in and out, very inconsistent in certain times. But I think Mourinho has brought in players to go on to win stuff. And he wants to win stuff now because he knows that maybe it's where Tottenham haven't won in a couple of years. It's sort of where he's been sacked the last couple of times. He needs to bring some trophies in, and to bring in players like Gareth Bale and obviously the as I call him, Reggie from Real Madrid as well. They've got a buyback clause, so I mean he could easily be bought back by Real Madrid in the next couple of years as well. We could in the next transfer window for I think £45 million or so. I think he's building a team to go out and actually challenge for a few trophies this season. It'd be interesting to see where we finish at the end of the season and if we've won anything. I mean, it's been so long. I can tell you now, it's just